This is one of a series of living history videos done by the Friends of the Library and may be found on the shelves of the library to be viewed there. We have today G. Lewis Miller, a third-generation Gunnisonite, and he has 3 generations after him who live here now. This is May 8th, 1998, and I'm Marcia Gray. Louis, let's go back to when you were born. Crested Butte?
That's a long while ago.
Yes.
Yes, in Crested Butte. On December 7th, 1907.
Okay.
That's 90 years ago.
90 years ago.
That's right.
Your mother, your father, and your grandfather were already there.
What's that again?
Your father came before your grandfather, right?
My father came to what?
To Crested Butte.
Yes.
Before your father.
Well,
Your father came first as an 11-year-old boy?
oh, my father came before my family. I did.
Before your grandfather?
Oh, yes. Yes.
How'd that happen?
Well, you mean my grandfather came before I did?
Came before your father. Your father came first, didn't he? From Baltimore?
Well, no, my grandfather.
Okay, that was Adam?
Oh, okay, you're on the other side of the family. Yeah, my father came first, and then my grandfather followed him in the Miller group.
Yes. Well, we're mostly just doing Millers. Yeah.
They what?
We're just doing Millers, except that we know you want to know who your mother was.
Well,
Susie.
well, the Miller, we're talking about the Miller family.
Yes.
See, what I got off on was the Julian family.
Well,
Was my mother's
okay.
family, who came to Crested Butte before the Millers,
Oh, really?
according to the way I understand it.
You're the boss. Okay, her name was Susie.
Yes.
So Susie and your father was George Lewis?
George L. Miller.
Yeah. And they, tell me, did they immediately go into the mortuary business?
No. They kind of coasted into it. As well as I understand, they were not associated with the mortuary at all. And then my grandfather, Miller, was a cabinet maker and kind of a carpenter. And so he kind of went into the mortuary business in Crested Butte, making caskets or coffins.
Yeah.
And then they graduated from there, and Dad went to Denver and took some education in field directing, embalming, and then came back to Crested Butte. That was way back in 1897, I think it was. And then he established the mortuary after that.
Was he a furniture dealer there too?
No, he wasn't, but grandfather was.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Miller.
And then how'd they get to the Gunnison with the funeral parlor?
Into Gunnison?
Yes.
Well, in let's see, I was born in 1907, and Dad and Mother moved to Denver in 1908, in April, just a couple months after I was born. And they went into business with grandfather Miller, who was opening a furniture store in Denver. And then the time went on that they progressed that bit, and then about 1911 my grandfather died, and he left all of his holdings and riches, so to speak, to a religious group in Denver. And Dad was entirely out of it. And he had a brother too, and he was left out of it. And the money and the wealth that went with the estate went to this Christian, or I don't know if it's Christian or not, but it was a religious group. And so then Dad didn't have anything to do, and there was a Dr. Rockefeller in Gunnison. In fact, the house that he built and lived in still here. And he got a hold of Dad and told Dad that they need an undertaker in Gunnison. And could he come over here? Well, Dad was very pleased to get the chance because he had nothing to do. So we moved to Gunnison. And, well, then Dad established the undertaking, and then eventually went into the furniture business, because you couldn't just sit around and wait for people to die in order to make a living. So he started a furniture store. And then we went from there on.
Where was the original funeral home?
The Dad established?
Yeah, where?
It's been torn down. It was across the street from where the present funeral home is. The post office is sitting there now.
Oh. And the furniture store, where was it?
Well, it was kind of every place. It was on Main Street, right north of the bank building. There's
the old Gamble building.
I don't know what's in there now. It's been so long since I've been over town, I can't remember.
There's a bookstore there now.
Yes. Well, that was Dad's store. And then Dad left, and Mother she'd take over. She went to school in Chicago for mortuary science. And when she came back, she took over the funeral home here in Gunnison. And then later in time, she established the Miller Rug Shop. And then it finally graduated into the Denver, or into the Gunnison Furniture Store. And then it was built right next to Pizza Parlor. And we vacated that and built the present store. That was...
Well, you, one time you were in was the Columbine Hotel building?
That was the Gunnison Rug Shop.
And you lived upstairs there?
No, not. We never lived there. Mother just established a rug shop, kind of a furniture rug shop, downstairs. And then when she built the one across the alley here, next to the pizza parlor, then she turned that into the Miller Furniture Store. And we were in there until the present building was built, and that's been close to 40 years ago.
Yeah. Your mother was quite ahead of her time in women's arrivals at skills and so forth. Your mother was one of the first, if not the first, woman embalmer in the state?
She was the first licensed lady embalmer in the state of Colorado. And I don't know, her certificate is over at the funeral home. I don't know when it was. It's been a long while ago.
You and your dad and your mother were all licensed, and then CJ became licensed. It says she was the third in the family to be licensed.
Who?
Susie.
Oh, Mother?
Yeah. And you were second, I guess. Your dad was first and you were second and she was third in the family. And the Miller hired you?
no, Dad was licensed first,
Yeah.
and then Mother was licensed, and then me.
And then you went, when the furniture store was there at the Alamo, in the pizza parlor, you went away to school, didn't you?
I was what?
You went away to school.
Oh, yeah, I went away to school in 1926, I think it was. I went to the University back east, and I was there for 4 years. And then I got my master's degree there, and then I came home. And, well, that's just a history of a different era there.
That was master's in what?
Is what?
What did you get the master's in?
Accounting,
Accounting. So you came back to account for the business.
yes. But, you know, during those times, people weren't hiring accountants. They just talked about them. And so when I came back here, then the first client, I was Ross Blackstock, and he gave me a carton of cigarettes to prepare his income tax.
Was that Ross or
Ross,
Ross himself?
old Ross.
Yeah, his father.
Yeah, he was in a drugstore where the Oddfellows Park is now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, but the accounting that I did was mainly income tax, and they would bring me a chicken or a carton of cigarettes or ice cream, a package of ice cream, or you know, they weren't used to accounting in Gunnison. In fact, they weren't used to it any place back about 1931.
They were mostly businesses.
It was a new business at the time.
Well, the present funeral home was on that corner a long time.
Now, what's this again? I don't know.
The present funeral home, where the funeral home is now.
Yeah,
There was another building there before that. That was the funeral home, right?
no,
No?
no, that lot has always been vacant. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
where your funeral home is now?
Where the funeral home is now is, I don't know what that was before Dad turned it into a mortuary.
Well, it wasn't log houses.
He's what?
It wasn't another structure. You built the building that's there.
No, yeah, well, in a way, Dad bought the building, and then Mother took it over, and then it fell down. It rotted out. And so then she built the building that's there now, the front of it. The same year as Blackstock building was built, the same man built it.
Oh.
And it was, well, it's been there since then. And then it's been added behind. Now, the buildings on the street on, was that Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
That's where, well, I don't know, the mortuary's in there now, and, well, I don't know what CJ has in there. Apartment, Dr. Ridinger used to be there. But anyway, that was a matter of the three houses when Dad got it. And he pushed them together and made one out of it, and we lived in that for a long while. In fact, we lived in there until I got married. And then CJ moved in there when he was born. He lived there for a while.
I remember when CJ lived there.
Now, what else do you want?
Well, now, see, that got you, you did your whole schooling outside of university in Gunnison, right?
I did what?
All your schooling was in Gunnison, outside of the university.
Yes. Yes.
Where was the school?
What?
Where was the school?
At the time, oh, the building?
Yeah. Where was the first school?
Well, the Pine Street School was, well, let's see if I can describe it to you. It's on the street, it's on Pine Street, just west of the building, of the big building there now, of Blackstock. It was 4 rooms, upstairs and downstairs. First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. Then the next building was built in Colorado Street, up where Chipeta Hall is now. And that was built on the same pattern for 4 rooms and 4 grades. That was the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then we graduated from there and went to the North Hall of, it was in the Colorado State Normal School, which is now Western State College. And I served 4 years of high school up in that area, on the north end of North Hall. And then they built new high school, they built an addition to the high school, and after I got out. So that was my education.
Did you go to Western before you went to Northwestern?
Yes. When I graduated from Gunnison High School, Dr. Quigley, who was the president of Western State College and a very good friend of my mother's and mine, and he advised Mother not to send me away to school. I wasn't mature enough. So I went. So he said, why don't you keep him here and give him 2 years, and then he'll be mature enough to go away. So I stayed here, went to school at Colorado State Normal School. 1920, 24, 25. I don't know if it was Colorado State Normal School or Western State College at that time. But anyway, I went to school for 2 years up here, and then I went back east to Northwestern, and I spent 4 years back there. And then with what credits I had from here on the first 2 years, plus the 4 years back there, earned me enough, so I took a few extra hours at Northwestern and finally got my master's degree. That's how that was engineered.
What was the enrollment of Western when you were in there?
What was what?
What was the enrollment? How big was the school?
At Western State? Oh gosh, I don't have any idea.
500?
Oh, probably 400 or 500, I imagine.
When you came back, you threw yourself into the community, and down through the years you've been involved in a lot of things.
Yes.
Like county commissioner. That's when I first met you.
Well, that was one of the things I think that probably the most satisfying thing that I had in doing things during my life was when I negotiated the purchase of the Gunnison Hospital by the county commissioners from Dr. and Mrs. Peterson. They wanted to sell it, and in fact they were going to close it. And when I stepped in and said, you can't do that. You can't leave Gunnison without a hospital. So anyway, I negotiated between the two groups, and it was tough. But they finally sold it to the county commissioners, and then I was appointed the first. I asked for it, I guess. I was appointed the first chairman of the board of the hospital. And I served on the board until I became county commissioner. And I had to resign because there's a law that says you can't hold two of those positions at the same time. And I thought, well, I could do more for the hospital by being a commissioner. So I resigned from the hospital board and served county commissioner for 12 years.
2 terms is that? Or is that 3 terms?
What's that?
Is that 2 terms or 3 terms?
2.
6-year terms.
And 8 years. 4 years for each one.
Mm-hmm.
What did I say, 12?
You said 12. Is it 3 terms?
It seemed like 12, I guess.
Well, at that time you were making statements about the water problem, the diversion problems. You made up one of the original slogans.
Well, in county commissioner,
Yeah.
well, the problems of the county were just starting planning, zoning. I was the original chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Gunnison County because I was commissioner, not because I was worthy of it. But that was kind of a challenge because we didn't know where we were going. We didn't know how we were going to get there. And we were just kind of floating around. There was, on that committee, there was John Rahm, Lee Spann, Herb Dorcott, and myself. They were the original planning and zoning. And finally, after we worked our heads off, get the thing all together, I'll be damned if they didn't turn it down. So we were without a job.
How about the water? Water diversion. People were, even way back then, they were trying to get Gunnison water into the Front Range.
Yes, I remember I was elected governor of Rotary, and I went over to Pueblo to make a speech for the Rotary Club. And during the time, there was the talk of diverting the water from Taylor Park into the Front Range. So they asked the question, Louis, what position do you take on the diversion of water? And I said, just leave the damn stuff alone until it gets past Sapanero, and then do anything you want to with it.
At that time, there was no dam.
No dam.
Sapanero was a little place in the valley.
Yeah, but they wanted to see, Pueblo was after the water to get to the Arkansas River. And they had a tunnel already to go to get the water from Taylor River to the Twin Lakes above Salida.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were a diversion into Pueblo.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, Aspinall came along with his dam, and he killed that diversion plan. And in fact, it killed all diversion plans at the time. Because there was the water they were taking was for the western slope. And then, of course, you know what's happened since then.
Yeah, always goes on. You had your finger in the early ski.
What's that?
Pioneer ski area. Up Smith Creek.
Yes.
You helped create that.
Well, that was engineered really by 4 guys. Chuck Schweitzer was one, Ryle Lake was one, Wes McDermott was another one, and I was the other one. So I had my fist in on that too. And we worked through the NYA. We got lots of not money, but we got lots of labor out of the government by unemployment, and they built a sea course according to our specifications. We didn't know anything about a sea course, but they didn't either. So that made us all alike. So they built a thing according to what Chuck and Ryle, I wasn't in on the engineering part of it, but Chuck and Ryle and West McDermott designed it, and it worked. In fact, after we got the thing built, we all worked on it. The whole community worked on it. During the week and on Sunday, there was just live people working on that ski area. And when we got the thing built and were ready to run, and we called it was on Forest Service land, so we had to get okay from the forest people. And the forester in charge of that deal in the National Forest came here to inspect the thing to see if it would work. And you wouldn't think of the things we did in order to get that thing running. And then the inspector said, you know, you're not pulling that cable, you're pushing it. And he said, you can't push a cable. But he said, by God, you're doing it. And so we were pushed the cable up the hill, 3,000 feet. And, but it was unbelievable. We baked cable from an outfit in New York who had a whole roll of cable up at the Blistered Horn Mine, which hadn't worked for 50 years at that time. And the guy gave us the cable when he found out what we were doing. And then he gave us the chairs on the trolley, and we changed those chairs from buckets of ore to chairs. We Wes and Chuck and those guys actually welded them, made new chairs
Out of ore buckets?
out of those buckets. And Clarence Tomlin, the jeweler, was here, had worked in a mine in Trinidad, and we had to have the cable put together. One cable was a steel cable, and the other was an iron cable, which, according to the authorities, couldn't be spliced. But Clarence decided he'd splice the damn thing, and he got to work here. Got a jeweler right across the street there, where Ellis Jeweler is now. And Clarence spliced that cable, and we had a cable about 15,000 feet out of it. But we begged, and we got things from people that is some companies like I forget the trolley company. They said it's what we call shift wheels. That was the wheels that the cable rode on, and they gave them to us. They sent them out here by bus, and things like that. And everybody in the community, the women here would prepare lunches and take up to the kids, to the guys that are working on the tow, and then they got the area cleaned by this NYA, National Youth Administration. They actually cleared the area of brush and trees and stuff like that, and we weren't capable of doing some of the things that were done up there, but this bunch did, and they were just people that were on the relief that needed work. National Youth Administration, I'm sure you remember that.
What was the power?
Where was that?
What was the power to move the cable up?
Where were you in Marcia?
What was the power system?
The power?
Yeah.
Electricity.
Oh,
We had,
REA.
yeah, we got to run a line up there, from the one that went to Crested Butte. And we had a big, I think it was a 10 horsepower motor that was run by electricity.
This was up Cement Creek? At Cement Creek? Pioneer ski area was...
Well, I just try to think. We were right in about ready to, we were just ready to finish the tow on Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh, 41.
1941.
Yes.
Because I remember we were coming down from work in my car, and I had the radio on, and the cable were about Pearl Harbor.
On Sunday.
Uh-huh.
7.
Did that ski area continue to run?
Oh, yes. It continued to run until we 4 guys just had spent everything we had. I don't mean money, we'd spent our energy and things like that. And we just felt, well, somebody else ought to take this over. But when they did, they closed it up. They didn't want to continue the effort. It wasn't good. It wasn't good terrain. We 4 guys didn't know anything about skiing. We heard about it, but then we went from there. But that hill was way too steep for anybody to ski along. You have to have a parachute.
Now you got some excitement too. Somewhere back in those days you belonged to the Navy. The Gunnison Navy, that is.
Yes. Yes, I belonged to the Gunnison Navy. I'm skipper. I was the first skipper of the Gunnison Navy. That's the boss. The admiral or whatever we call him, skipper. And he was the president. And I guess the only thing that I know that's left of the Gunnison Navy is my boat.
Oh?
It's out in the garage, number 3, Gunnison Navy.
It's balsa boat?
Huh?
What's it made of?
It's made out of canvas.
You make it?
We all made our boats.
Was it 2 men or 1?
With what?
Only 1 person in it?
No, 2.
Oh. Well, then along came the rubber rafts.
Now what?
When the rubber rafts came along, did you accept them?
River rats?
Rubber rafts. Now, they have these giant rafts instead of the kayak.
Well, these were, well, to my knowledge, the boats were on the river before we guys made our kayaks. Were made by Johnny Knowles. And they were a boat that was made of plywood and then insulated with tar and stuff like that. It was okay, except it was awful heavy.
Yeah.
And see, these kayaks that we guys made only weighed 32 pounds. And you could lift them with 1 hand. But those that Johnny made weighed about 100 pounds. And so they sunk. And you had to have lots of water to float the things. But our kayaks would float in 4 inches of water. But that was another era too. It wasn't the same group that was that was the ski area. This was the Gunnison Navy, and it was people like Jimmy Smeedle and Ralph Porter and Pete Eastman and businessmen around Gunnison, and we built them originally to go fishing, and then of course it turned into a lot of things, but it always kept its identity as the Gunnison Navy. But I guess somebody is still maintained the name of the Gunnison Navy. I don't know who it is.
The boaters.
What's that?
I don't know. Mason Wright has a picture
Yes,
of.
he has some of the original pictures from the Navy. You see there was only about 8 people of the original Navy, and then the other people came in later. The Navy was started before Pearl Harbor. We used to boat the river before Pearl Harbor happened, and then after that is when lots of the pictures were taken. There's this one man and his wife came in from Hollywood and to take pictures of this group of boaters. It wasn't called the Navy yet, and so they took the pictures, and then they circulated that movie clear all over the world. And in fact, Forrest Fraser saw his. They took the picture, and then they circulated it. And Forrest Fraser, in the meantime, was drafted into the army and went to Africa with the soldiers. And entertainment one night, here comes this picture on, and Fraser gets up in the middle of everybody and says, "Hey, my God, that's me." So there was that took it in. Then after the war, then the problems came about fishing in the Gunnison River
Afterwards.
and then of course the Navy or the people in the boats had an advantage, and the ranchers didn't like that, and so then we finally got an organization, and we named it the Gunnison Navy, and in order to try to hold the ire of the property owners, and which I think we did, and then just the word Gunnison Navy got around all over the world, I guess, and Dr. Light then came in after the war, and I don't know how he did it, but Mason did. Mason does a lot of things, but he got a lot of pictures, and he's put them together, and he's made a movie out of it.
Yeah.
And it's a very authentic movie. Yeah, but Mason was not one of the original people of the Navy. He claims that he was one of the original, but he wasn't.
Right.
Because he didn't come until after the war, and the Navy was organized before. Have you seen his film?
Yes. Very good.
It's real good.
Some of it is a professional film taken by somebody who took this film that Fraser saw in Africa, and then he's got other pictures that he's. But some of it is that professional picture that was taken by the Hollywood people,
Yeah.
and he got a copy of it. When you were in Rotary, did you take part in the fireworks or building the fireworks at the?
Oh yes. all the time, all the way from the time it started. T.K. Wilson, at the Western State College,
Mhm.
you remember him?
Yes.
He was kind of the originator of the fireworks. He got a lot of the guys together, said, look, you all shooting your firecrackers off here and there, why don't we put them together and have a good display? So we did, and we went down to the rodeo grounds for the first time, and TK kind of engineered it, and then he made displays, and in fact, TK Wilson was the father of the fireworks.
But you, as a member, helped build the displays.
I was, well, what?
You helped build the displays
Yes,
after they were up at the college.
yes, oh yes, yes. You see, we had this was going on, I'm trying to think, this was going on quite a while before they had them at the college. We had it down at the airport for a while. And then finally they took it down to the rodeo grounds. And it started the first time we went at Hartman Rocks.
Oh,
That's where,
when would that have been? Before the war?
at Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Rotary sponsored us. They organized it. Now, but
Well, in addition to Rotary, I have my notes that you were in Elk, you were in Oddfellows, you were in a Mason, and active in all those things too. The Masons made
we
it.
were to start over and start a little slower. Let me try to catch it.
All right, let's just start with the Masons. You're Masonic. And the Masonic Hall has been changed since you were here. A new, different Masonic building.
I didn't catch everything that you said. Something about the Masons?
Yes, you tell me about the Masons.
What about them?
You tell me. You were a Mason.
Yes.
They built a new building.
Well, what are they for? Is that what you said?
No, the new building where it is now.
Oh, yes.
That was built, when?
Well, I don't know when that was built.
You remember the old one too.
Oh, yes, I remember it. I made the dedication speech.
Okay. Laid the cornerstone.
Where's what?
That's right across the street from Webster Hall.
Yes.
Now, Webster Hall was a creation while you were...
Yes, that was, Webster Hall was engineered by Dr. George Knuckles, who was a minister of the community church. Wonderful, wonderful man. And he did so many things around Gunnison that very few of us know about. But George was always just working and getting this done, getting something else done.
And that was built with NYA labor, I think, or WPA. Like this
Webster
here.
Hall. Yeah, but George inveigled, I think it was about $8,000 out of Mrs. Webster to build the building. And she had plenty of money, but she was tight with it. But George finally got her to contribute to the building.
I don't think a lot of people know who Webster was. That know Webster Hall.
Webster Hall, well, Webster Hall, there was a man here that built that three-story building on Main Street.
The hotel?
What?
The hotel?
Webster, it used to be painted Webster Dry Goods,
Oh, okay.
and he built that building. And then he had a drive-in store in there, all 3 stories. And then he finally passed away. And then Mrs. Webster had the building, and he had left her well fixed with not riches, but with plenty of money. And she was getting old. She realized that. They had no children. And she and George, Dr. Knuckles, well, I don't know, they kind of hobnobbed together. And, but anyway, he finally got her to donate this money for the building of the Webster Hall. And then they named it after her.
At that time, you were named Citizen of the Year by the Chamber of Commerce.
Now, what's that?
You were named Citizen of the Year by the Chamber of Commerce. You were on the chamber.
Oh yeah, it's hanging in there on the wall. I don't know what year it was.
But you were recognized for your services to the community.
Oh yes. Yes, they recognized it.
And you served on the city council.
Now what again?
You served on Gunnison City Council. 1 term.
Yes.
I've been checking up on you.
Yes, I was on the council 1 time, and then the war was over, and Bill Ender come back from the service, and he beat me out of being mayor.
You never were mayor. You missed that. Your private life, your personal life. You married Audrey Peck,
Yes.
who was, and you had CJ and Marilyn.
I had what?
CJ and Marilyn, 2 children,
Yes.
both of them still around here.
Oh yes, CJ and Marilyn.
Yeah. And CJ's got his son and his grandson, so now you have 3 generations following you.
Well, let's see. CJ has a son, and he has a son. So I have a great-grandson here, too.
Yes. Ricky's son.
Yes.
Is
Nice boy. He's grown up. He's 18 years old now. And he's working with CJ.
Ricky's son is 18 years old?
I think that's what he is.
Oh my.
He graduated from
From high school?
high school in California.
But he's living here now.
And what's that?
He's living here now.
Yes,
Working at CJ
that's right.
and with Ricky.
That's right.
And Ricky is in the funeral home now. I mean, he works there. Is he a mortician? Ricky?
Come again, what about Rick?
Is he a mortician? Did he take the tests?
Say that again.
Did he go like you and your dad and Susie and CJ and become mortician or embalmer?
Oh, Ricky,
Yeah.
is he, well, he's not licensed,
No.
but now let me explain that. They have changed the law
Oh.
whereby you can enter the mortuary field without being licensed. So that's what Rick is doing. He's going in under the, well, I forget now what they call it.
On the job training.
Well, anyway, if they ever pass to put it under it's about to the end.
Yeah, I'm about to the end.
You want to talk about my funeral?
No, I'm not going in the future, just the end here. Not the end, just this end. No, I just have gotten you up to where you have a wife and a family, and I know that you went on with your community service during all that time, and we probably overlapped a lot of it. But you should cough up something. What else happened I didn't ask you about? You saw the college grow. You saw the water suits over here. You saw the public schools grow and change. Gunnison has changed since you remember being a child here in school. Anything particular?
No, not that. I can't think of anything, Marcia. I've just had my fist in a lot of things during my lifetime. Some were good, some were just mediocre. Nothing.
Well, we tried to touch the ones that were good.
Well,
We didn't know about the mediocre ones, but you don't have to tell us about them anyhow.
about what?
The mediocre ones.
Oh, well, that's all. You know, I didn't do anything great. I just did a little here and a little there. And, well, I just tried to fit into the community
That's,
and enjoyed myself, enjoyed my family.
you have 3 generations of it coming up after you.
Yeah,
Well, Louis,
yeah, right. You see, all my happiness ended about 20 years ago when Audrey passed away. That was everything that I had.
what year was that?
And what's that?
When was that?
1976.
Centennial. Well, she was a dear part of this community too.
Audrey?
Yes.
Oh, yes. She was very much part.
Well, I thank you very much for submitting to this. I hope we haven't worn you out.
No.
If you think of anything you should have said and you didn't, we'll come back and make chapter 2.